Right, welcome everybody once again to Practicing the Pause with Phil. I am Philip Boyce. I'm a peer navigator at Wilkes Recovery Revolution's R3 Recovery Center. And this is Practice the Pause. And thank you all for tuning in, for joining. And we'll give this a minute to let other folks, as they're scrolling down, be able to tune in and log in and practice the pause with us. Uh, Maybe some of you all have uh, done this before. Maybe you've joined in with Practice the Pause, so you know a little bit about what this is about. Perhaps maybe this is your first time, and you're kind of curious to see what do we do on Practice the Pause. What does practicing the pause mean? Well, I think life can get so busy. We do so much, and sometimes we can get in a hurry, and we kind of need to figure out how to calm ourselves down, how to practice wellness and self care, and I think that's important. And so that's what I primarily do here is I try to give us tools that we can use to be able to settle ourselves down, to ground ourselves, to practice wellness and self-care. And I talk a little bit about what wellness is, what it means, and those things that relate to wellness. And so uh, to begin with, I would like to share a little bit about what mindfulness is. We talk a lot about what mindfulness and bringing awareness, what that means. Well, mindfulness is this basic human ability to be fully present, and that's what we want to do here at this time. We want to engage ourselves. We want to make sure that we are fully present. And a lot of times we have, I know I do, I can have difficulty doing that, just being in the here and now. We got so many distractions. A lot of times we're glued to our phones, and it's hard just to be there in the moment. Even being engaged there's conversation, when we're talking with people, a lot of times our mind wants to wander, even and we're doing simple tasks. It seems like when we're doing things, our mind can be elsewhere. And so mindfulness can help us uh, to be better at being in the present. That's really what mindfulness is. It's this basic human ability to be fully present in the here and the now, and it's being aware of where we are and what we're doing. And it's not overly reactive or being overwhelmed by what's going on around us. If you're like me, sometimes my stress levels can get real high. I can kind of feel anxiety and sometimes panic attacks and things like that. And so mindfulness has helped me to deal with those things. I'm not saying that I don't have those things anymore, but I'm saying that mindfulness has helped me to deal with some of those issues and to relieve some of that stress. And so mindfulness is it's that ability to be fully present in the here and now and being aware of uh, where we are and what we're doing instead of being overly reactive and overwhelmed by what's going on around us. And a lot of times my problems can be all up in my head. I can be thinking on something too much and just kind of dwelling on those things. And by practicing mindfulness, it can help me to let go. You might be still dealing with an issue that you were dealing with yesterday, maybe some stress or maybe some type of resentment or something that you're holding on to. Well, mindfulness can help us to let those things go by being aware of where we're at, being fully present, and just learning how to practice mindfulness and letting those things go. And so I hope that this is going to help you today by learning what mindfulness is and continue to practice mindfulness, because that's what our attentions are going to be today is to practice these things. That's why it's called practicing the pause with Phil. I want to give us tools that we can implement in our lives that help us deal better with some of these issues, these things that we have going on in our daily life. And so you can practice mindfulness right here, right now, by sitting down for what we do here is a meditation practice. I've got one that we're going to do today that I hope will help us. Uh, And so we can practice mindfulness right here, right now, just by sitting down and practicing this meditation. And we can also practice mindfulness by being more intentional and aware of the things that we do each day. Nearly every task that we perform in a day, whether it be brushing our teeth or eating lunch or talking with friends or exercising, can be done more mindfully. And I use this exercise, for me, before I even begin teaching this course, is by using tea. I've talked about in the past where, I found teas that can help reduce my stress levels. And so I can be mindful of when I'm making the tea, how I'm brewing the tea, and then even how I'm pouring it there into the cup. I'm mindful of the experience of pouring it in. I'm mindful of the aroma of the tea, and then I'm mindful of the experience. I can experience the tea just by drinking it and sipping on the tea. All that involves mindfulness. And so nearly every task that we perform in a day, there's simple things such as brewing tea and sipping on tea, can be done more mindfully. We can be fully present. I'm fully present of what I'm doing. I'm engaged there with the making of the tea and the pouring of the tea and the drinking of the tea. Nearly every task we perform in a day can be done more mindfully. It could be cleaning the house. It could be doing yard work. I've talked to people several times that, some of the most peaceful places they've told me is it could be mowing the lawn, right? Or raking leaves. As long as you're being mindful and engaged in that activity, you can practice that mindfulness. And so when we are mindful of our actions, we pay more attention to what we are doing. It's the opposite of just going through the motions. Do you ever feel like that? That you're just kind of just going through the motions. You go and you before work, before you get ready for work, you just kind of go through the motions. Then there at work, you just kind of go through the motions again, and then there when you get off work, you're just kind of going through the motions, just kind of drifting through life. Do you ever feel like that? You're just kind of going through the motions. Being mindful of what we're doing, I think, can help us to be more grateful and have more gratitude in our life for the simple things, for the things that we're engaged with on a daily basis. And so we want to practice this instead of just going through the motions. Instead, with mindfulness, we're tuned in to our senses. We're noticing our thoughts and emotions. And sometimes we can feel like we're just so busy, right? We've got so much going on. We're just so busy all the time. By building mindfulness into your daily life, you can practice this. It's a practice. You can practice mindfulness even when you're too busy to meditate. Sometimes it's kind of hard just to find that time, right? We're just going to be still and just meditate, and it can be hard to find that time sometimes. And so mindfulness, when you practice these things, I think it will help open up some of those times. We'll feel we'll feel less stressed because we're practicing this. With meditation, get something like that, uh, and use that for your meditation. It gives you a timer when to stop. Many people do a session in the morning and in the evening, or one or the other. It's really just finding that time and sticking to it. It's good to practice a time on a regular basis. Maybe it could be morning or evening. If you feel like your life is busy and you have little time, doing some is better than none. And so when you get a little bit of space and time, you can do a bit more. You can find a good spot in your home, ideally where there isn't too much clutter, and you can find some quiet. It's good to make that space, to create that space, a place where you can go and you can kind of shut out the world. You can turn off distractions and you can just practice your own self-care and well-being. I I find this is really important to do so because it's had such an impact on my life. And that's the reason why I continue to teach some of these things, because I believe when we practice this, it's gonna help. It's gonna help with the way we feel. It's gonna help with the way we interact with others. It's gonna help with how productive we are, whether it be at work or uh, some other things. And so it's good to do, and it's important to find a space that you can go to and just shut out the world and uh, and be away from any distractions. And so you can find a good spot in your home, ideally when there's not too much clutter, and you can find some quiet. It's good to leave the lights on. I've shared about this in the past too. A lot of times when we practice meditation, it's easy to get real relaxed, where it's easy to doze off or fall asleep. So make sure that you've got adequate lighting, or you can even sit in a natural light. You can do it outside. If you've got a porch, a screen-in porch, or something like that, you could do this at. And choose a place with little distraction, and make sure your posture is okay, that you're comfortable. You're not too stiff, just where you can relax and really be present in the moment. That's what we want to do here with this meditation. We want to be present and in the moment. And so I invite you to do that now, to find a place that you can practice this. And today I'd like to do a body scan. It's a form of meditation, a meditative exercise. It's called the body scan. And you can do this practice laying down. You could do it sitting on a meditation cushion or a chair, someplace where you can relax. So I invite you to do that now. That you found that spot that you can get to, that's quiet, that's away from distraction. Turn off any devices that might disturb you. Silence your phone. Turn off any other devices that might be a distraction for you. And let's practice this meditation here. Let's practice this together using this mindfulness. We're going to be mindful of our environment, be mindful of how we're feeling, and be mindful that you're in a safe place to practice this meditation. And so I invite you now to let your body relax and soften. And a lot of times I can just kind of move my head a little bit. You might want to do some slow circles there. Just kind of get out any tension that you might be carrying there. Small circles there in your neck. Just kind of move around your neck some. Do that a couple times. Nothing too fast. You don't want to hurt yourself. Maybe you're carrying some tension there in your neck, and if you go too fast, you might really hurt yourself. So just slowly, small circles there, moving your head back and forth. Might want to do the same thing with your shoulders. Just kind of slowly do some circles forward there with your shoulders, and then backwards there with your shoulders. Just want to kind of loosen up here before this body scan. All right. Do that a couple times there. Feeling relaxed. Let your body relax and soften. And now I invite you to bring your attention to your breath. We're going to breathe in some here. Really settle ourselves, ground ourselves. And so I invite you now to breathe in through your nose. Inhale there, slow, steady inhale through your nose with the in breath. Breathe deeply into your belly. Release with the out breath. Let's take a couple more breaths there. In breath. Be mindful of the breath. Mindful that you're breathing with the in breath. Feel the air going into your lungs there. And then breathe out. Releasing that air. Again, a couple more in breaths. In breath through the nose. An out breath. And maybe as you're breathing out, you're feeling some of that stress go. Let some of that stress leave you. A couple more in breaths there. In breath through nose. Breathe deeply into your belly. Breathe out. Your body is beginning to settle. If you become uncomfortable, you can quietly adjust your posture. Let's continue to breathe in. Breathing deeply. Bring your awareness to your body. Remind yourself of its inherent awareness, ease, and vitality. Continue to breathe. In breath. Focus on the breath. Out breath. Invite yourself to relax into these elements of awareness, ease, and vitality. Let your body feel open and safe. Now I'll invite you to bring your attention to the top part of your head, to your skull and scalp. Breathe into your scalp. As thoughts arise, just let them be. Be aware of any tension in your scalp. Then on your next inhalation, breathe in, then breathe out gratitude. Breathe out gratitude. Grateful for this exercise, grateful for being in the here and the now, grateful to be practicing the pause. Now move your attention to your forehead. Be aware of your forehead, accepting whatever tension might be there. Breathe into your temples. Be mindful here of your breath. Let your temples feel cool and relaxed. Accept any tension or pain in your temples. Continue to breathe. As you breathe in, let your temples feel open and soft. Now I invite you to put your hand over your eyes as you breathe into them. Put your hand over your eyes as you breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. See if you can soften your eyes as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, let go of all hardness in and around your eyes. Continue to breathe. Breathe openness and awareness into your eyes. Breathe openness and awareness into your eyes. And then as you breathe out gratitude for your clear, bright, and relaxed eyes. Now I invite you to bring awareness to your ears and the muscles around and in your ears. Breathe in fully, opening your ears. Then as you breathe out, exhaling, feel grateful for being able to listen and bear witness. Continue to breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now I invite you to breathe in through your nose. Feel the air passing in and out of your nostrils. Continue to breathe, and as you breathe in, imagine that the air you are inhaling is full of vital energy. Then as you exhale, breathe out with gratitude. Continue to breathe. On your next inhalation, as you breathe in, bring your awareness to the place in your nostrils where you can feel air entering. As you release with the out breath, feel the exhalation passing out of your nostrils. Let your concentration deepen as you are aware of where the air enters and leaves your nose. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. Again, let your concentration deepen as you are aware of where the air enters and leaves your nose. Now, as we continue to breathe, I invite you to bring your awareness to your mouth. Feel your lips, your gums, teeth, and tongue. Let your mouth feel warm and open. Relax your whole mouth, letting your jaw soften. As you breathe in, on your inhalation, bring a slight smile to your mouth. And as you exhale, feel yourself letting go of tension. Tension in your jaw, your cheeks, your lips, your tongue, and your throat. Continue to breathe in, breathe out. Now gently move your awareness to your throat and your neck. Let your awareness rest lightly in this area. Feel your neck and throat. As you breathe, breathe into your neck and throat and accept whatever tightness might be in this area. As you breathe out gratitude. Continue to breathe in, mindful of the breath. Inhale with the out breath, breathe out gratitude. Now bring your awareness to your shoulders. As you breathe in, breathe into your shoulders. Breathing in, let all tension melt from your shoulders with the out breath as you exhale. Let your shoulders drop and relax them. Give away any sense of heaviness in your shoulders, letting go of your burdens. With the in breath, as you breathe in, give your shoulders space. As you breathe out with the out breath, drop your shoulders even farther. Continue to breathe in, mindful of the breath, and breathe out. Now let your awareness be in your arms. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe into your arms. Be aware of any tightness in your arms. There's nothing you need to hold. With your attention lightly on your arms, breathe spaciousness into your arms. As you release the breath, as you breathe out relief and release. Now bring your awareness to your hands. Touch your hands with awareness. Let them open. Turn your hands where your palms are facing upward. And breathe into the palms of your hands. As you breathe in, inhaling, feel simple generosity in your hands. As you breathe out, exhaling, imagine the tension in your arms and hands flowing out through the ends of your fingers, through the tips of your fingers. Imagine the tension in your arms and hands just flowing out through the tips of your fingers, through the ends of your fingers. Let your hands feel light and alive. Now bring your awareness to your spine as you continue to breathe in Breathe out. Breathe into your spine, letting it stretch with your in-breath. Feel the strength of your spine on your out-breath as you breathe out. Feel the strength of your spine. As you breathe in, be aware of your rib cage expanding. Then as you release, as you exhale, feel the aliveness of your spine and appreciate the strength of your spine. Continue to breathe in, breathe out. I'll bring your attention to your chest and your lungs. Breathe deeply into your lungs and fill them so that your chest rises after your belly does. Give your chest space in which to breathe deeply. As you breathe in, you feel your chest opening and your lungs expanding. Be aware of any tightness or feelings of loss and sorrow that you might be carrying there. This is a very deep breath. Breathe in deeply and then breathe out. Appreciate your lungs. Continue to breathe. Now breathe into your heart. Bring awareness there to your heart. Be aware of any tightness in and around your heart. Feel your heart open as it trusts your attention and your breath. Bring your attention to the tissue around your heart. Feel your heart being supported by healthy tissue and cells. Continue to breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bring your attention to the veins and arteries leading to and from your heart. Visualize your arteries as clear and open. See your veins carrying healthy blood into your heart. As you breathe in, appreciate your heart. Breathing out, feel gratitude for your good heart. Now bring awareness there to your diaphragm. As you breathe in, breathe out, let your diaphragm open as you breathe in deeply. That diaphragm is there and a part of our stomach there. Breathe in and breathe out. Be aware of your whole torso as you exhale and feel your diaphragm. Breathe in, feel your diaphragm drop, and then give your heart and lung space in which to expand. And on your exhalation, maybe you can let go of some tension. Maybe you're carrying some tension there. Maybe you feel all wound up and tight like a pretzel. Just let go of any tension that you might be carrying there. On the next breath, bring awareness to your kidneys and your lower back. As you exhale with the out breath, be aware of any anxiety you may be experiencing. Breathe in strength and awareness into your kidneys and lower back. As you exhale, breathing out, give space to your kidneys and lower back. And now we'll move along there and bring awareness to our knees. Breathe into your knees. On the out breath, be aware of the small muscles around your knees. Feel grateful for your knees. Breathe in. As you breathe in healing to your knees, and then breathe out any tension and pain in your knees. Then moving downward, breathe into your feet. Bring all awareness to your feet. Bring all your attention to your feet. On your out breath, be aware of any tension in your feet. Imagine on your in breath that you're breathing all the way through your body into your feet. Your mind touches your feet. And on your out breath, appreciate your feet. And so you can see here as you're breathing, you can bring awareness to these different parts of your body, breathing into them and feeling gratitude for each of these parts of the body. And so to complete this practice, slowly and gently and smoothly bring your awareness from your feet to your legs, to your pelvic area, to your stomach and liver, to your chest, heart, and lungs, to your spine, to your shoulders, arms, and hands, to your neck, to your face, and then to the top of your head. Continue to breathe as you breathe in and out smoothly as your awareness travels up and through your body. When you have reached the top of your head, return your awareness to your breath, then let it gently spread to your whole body. Stay this way just for the pause, just for a minute here. And take just a moment to relax with an open and quiet mind. And then before completing the practice, send all the well-being that you have experienced to others on your breath. Then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I hope that has helped you all some to be mindful and be present here. That's what our intentions are here to do, to be mindful of the moment, to practice self-care. Pulling up my screen here. It is a journey. Wellness is a journey. It's not a not a race. Uh, it continues to progress. Wellness is a journey. It's about a quality of life that we have, a quality of life. I find that there's different states of being that I can uh, feel more productive at. I can feel better. I can be at my best self. And I believe that wellness helps to tap into that. It helps out to be into that state of being that uh, I'd like to be at. But it's things I have to do in order to reach that. Uh, Here we see that wellness is not a journey, or wellness is a journey. But Bob Dylan said that he not busy being born is busy dying. And so I really see wellness as a pursuit. It's a pursuit of wellness, a pursuit of wellness. And so each day I've got to look at my wellness and say, what am I going to do today for my wellness? What am I going to do today for my recovery? It's a pursuit, things that I've got to focus on, things I have to implement into my life. Whether it's exercise or diet or practicing the Paul, self-care and wellness, it's things that I have to intentionally pursue. So wellness is never a static state. You just don't get well or stay well. And it can take work and effort to dig down deep and to discover what our true needs are. Do you know what your true needs are? I think that unfortunately, for a lot of people here in America, we aren't aware of what our needs are. We constantly doing things that are harmful to us, whether it's overworking or poor exercise or poor diet or not enough exercise or not enough sleep. We're continually doing things that aren't good for us, and so we need to really rediscover what our true needs are. There is such a thing as a cause and effect. And so what I do or don't do, which is cause, is an effect. There's an effect because of it. That's what these 8 dimensions that we look at here with wellness, these 8 dimensions of wellness, can help us to rediscover what these needs are. Wellness is not simply the absence of disease. There's a lot of things that we do in our life that can be leading up to disease. Some of those things that I just mentioned: poor diet, not enough sleep, not enough exercise, um, not doing proper wellness and self care. All those things can lead up to disease. And so, just because we're not feeling sick right now doesn't mean that we're on the path to prevent disease, uh, or we're on the path towards wellness. And so, wellness is not simply the absence of disease. There's a lot of emotional states. We have different emotional states that we go through. Emotional states might be boredom or depression, anxiety. And these emotional states, emotions are powerful. These emotional states often set the stage of physical disease through the lowering of our body's resistance. And so we really need to be mindful of our emotions, how we're feeling, what are we going through? Is it boredom, depression, anxiety? These emotional states often set the stage of physical disease through the lowering of our body's resistance. We know about stress, right? We've heard about that, and that was a recent discovery. Uh, it hadn't been around. This knowledge hadn't been around for too long. That even stress can impact the body. It can be harmful to the heart and other organs, and that's an emotional state. And so you see that these emotional states can often set the stage of physical disease through the lowering of the body's resistance. The same feelings, those emotional states, can also lead to abuses like smoking. My anxiety. I used to be a smoker, and you know, uh, my anxiety, I would smoke a lot more cigarettes. Underneath those emotional states. Uh, and so these feelings can lead to abuses like smoking, uh, excessive alcohol, or drug use. I still believe that a lot of those the substance that we use is trying to medicate. We're trying to medicate our trauma. Trying to use something to deal with the trauma and those emotional states that we're feeling. And so we're not addressing the root causes. We're making it worse. We're increasing harm to ourselves. And so those feelings can lead to the abuses like smoking, excessive alcohol and drug use, and overeating. I've seen a lot of folks the same way. They get into these emotional states, whether it be depression or something, and they go and they reach for whether it's ice cream or whatever it is, and so it's just really masking the problem. It's not really getting to the root of a cause. And so these symptoms and behaviors represent only the tip of the iceberg. They're surface indicators, underlying human needs. And these underlying human needs we've talked about before that needs to be addressed. These needs that we have is one is a recognition from others, to be recognized, to feel valued, to feel a part of. This recognition from others is what all human beings have. And so these needs, that's a social need. We look at that from a social dimension there. The recognition from others, maybe support, to have that support. I believe that the opposite of addiction is connection. And, it's just to be valued, it's to be appreciated. It's to feel a part of. That recognition from others is a need that we all have. Another need that we have is a stimulating environment. Stimulating environment. The opposite of that is boredom. Maybe we're not being stimulated enough. Maybe we need to find ways to stimulate ourselves, whether it's through reading or discussion, communicating with someone else. Maybe it's learning something new. Maybe it's being challenged by a new hobby or a new uh, subject to learn. Stimulating environment is a need that we all have. I don't believe we should ever stop learning, ever stop growing. And so a stimulating environment is a need that we have. Another need that we have is caring and affection from friends. Here's somebody that we can call that we're going through a tough time, somebody we can talk to, and we know that they care for us, and we can also care for them. That is a need that we all have as human beings, for caring and affection from friends. Another need that we have is a sense of purpose, meaning in life. And that's why, employment can help with that, which is one of the dimensions that we have that we look at for wellness. Another a dimension that can help with that is a spiritual dimension, a sense of purpose and meaning. And another need that we have is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance, and I believe that's really learning about who we are. You know, addressing some of these needs, that looking at some of these emotions, these things that we carry. Whether it be stress or anxiety, boredom, depression, we really look at these things and we discover how we can address those. What can we do about these things? We all have difficulties. We all have our struggles. But I think self acceptance is really looking at those areas and not running from them. It's facing our fears. It's examining and investigating why we are the way we are. It's a self acceptance and learning to love those areas about ourselves. Not feeling shame, not feeling guilt, but self acceptance, looking at it for what it is. And I love that quote there by Bob Dylan, that he not busy being born is busy dying. And so we have to discover these things. We have to, it's work, it's pursuit, to continue to look at these things, because if not, we're going the opposite way. We're going to be abusing ourselves. We're going to be harming ourselves. We're going to be dying. He not busy being born is busy dying. And so as we look at these things, as we look at what the true needs are for what some of these root causes are, we can see that diseases and symptoms are not really the problem. They're actually the body, mind, spirit attempt to solve a problem. It's like a message. It's a message sending it to us to bring awareness to these issues. It's an attempt to solve a problem. They're a message from the subconscious to the conscious. I've got in my car, I had some problems here, and of my engine light went on. It's an indicator showing that there's something wrong with my car. And a lot of times these diseases, these symptoms are a message sent to us to say that, hey, there's a problem that we need to address. There's a problem that we need to look at, to bring mindfulness and awareness to. It's a message from the subconscious to the conscious, just like that car light that went on in my car, that there's a problem that needs to be addressed. In much of the contemporary medical practice that we have is it's involved with just chipping away at surface needs. It's just looking at the surface. It's not looking at the root cause. It's not going deep enough. Its orientation is towards treatment. Treatment. Its orientation is towards treating and eliminating the evidence of disease. That once the disease is gone, they say everything's okay. But it doesn't go far enough. And that's important. It's not enough. It's essential to look below the surface to these signs that we just looked at, to the real needs, to address the real needs, to address the whole person. And that's what we call holistic approach. That's what wellness looks at. It looks at the holistic approach. It looks at all of the person, not just those surface issues, but it goes down to the root causes. And so wellness extends the definition of health to encompass a process of integration characterized by awareness, education, and growth. And that's what I try to do here with wellness is I call it EAT. EAT is bring education, awareness, and tools so we can practice to really get at these root causes, to really discover what these needs are. Like I said, wellness is a journey. Wellness is a journey. That health is not the mere absence of illness, but a continual striving to live a life that is full, meaningful, zestful, and exuberant. Wellness looks at the quality of life, the quality of life. And so that's what we look at when we're looking at wellness is we look towards this what's called a high level wellness, which can be seen on this illness wellness continuum. See a high level wellness there's towards the right. When we're doing that, when we're pursuing those things, we're going away from the signs, symptoms, and disability towards the left there, towards premature death. It's high level wellness. That is a focus there, moving toward a high level wellness. And we do that by looking at these 8 dimensions. 8 dimensions. We've looked at these in the past and we continue to look at those to see how we can increase our wellness. This wellness continuum was made by a guy named John W. Travis. John W. Travis. And he developed these positions uh, here that you see on what's called the field of wellness with an eventual goal towards self actualization. And what that means simply is it's becoming your best self. Uh, I've said it before, that it's a great compliment to hear someone say, I really do like the person you are becoming. You are becoming. I believe that's going towards that high level wellness. It's becoming your best self. And so this illness wellness continuum illustrates the relationship between the allopathic, which means the medical practice that aims to combat disease by use of remedies such as drugs or surgery. This illustrates this illness wellness continuum illustrates the relationship between the allopathic medical paradigm or any other symptom treatment system and the wellness paradigm, which is based on self responsibility. Like I said, wellness is a pursuit that I have a role to play regarding my own health. I'll say that again. I have a role to play regarding my own health. And so this continuum, you see, is moving from the center. And if you move to the left, that shows a progressively worsening state of health. Progressively worsening state of health. If you move to the right of center, that shows increasingly levels of health and well-being. And so traditional medicine is oriented toward curving evidence of disease, but usually stops at the midpoint. There you see there at the neutral point. Wellness, begins at any point on the scale with the goal of helping a person move as far to the right as he is willing to go. And so wellness begins when an individual sees himself or herself as a growing, changing person. And so high level wellness means giving care to the physical self, using the mind constructively, channeling stress energies positively, expressing emotions effectively, becoming creatively involved with others, and staying in touch with the environment. Simply put, it's self-care, mindfulness, stress management, emotional expression, community connection, and environmental wellness. And so we see here in closing, we'll close with this, that the eventual goal of wellness is the actualization of one's true psychophysical spiritual potential. If you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, wellness is Maslow's notion of self-actualization, carried to its natural expression as growth towards the full integration of mind, body, spirit, and environment. And so the end point is not really an end. It's not perfection. It's a continual cycle towards high levels of wellness. All right. Well, I hope that you were able to get some meaning and has helped you somewhat today by practicing the pause. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. If you got any questions, feel free to write. Uh, Send me an email or check us out there at the R3 Recovery Center. We'd be glad to talk to you. All right. Well, have a good Wellness Wednesday, rest of Wellness Wednesday, everybody. See you next time. Bye.